The old dead thing here. Welcome to my garage where I have a little project I'm going to be working on. I tried to do this, last week, but unfortunately, my girlfriend's old motherboard here kind of kicked the bucket. This whole thing right here. It's a B450 motherboard. It made by ASRock. It's the first ASRock board I have ever had fail on me. So that is something else. It did have a nice little life, but I think because of the case it was in, which is, excuse me one second, I need to have my shit better, which is this right here. It's a Rosewill case. I forgot the exact make and model, but as you can see, it's very old school in style. And if you see me looking down, that's me looking down at the only screen I can monitor this stuff with, so I apologize. But yeah, this thing has like one big fan in the front, one 120 millimeter, and an 80 millimeter exhaust, and it uses the power supply right up in here as the only exhaust for it, and it was cooking everything inside the case. Anyways, we're going to be building a computer today, and let me show you the components. There's the new case, an MX330 Cougar full ATX case. It's very open space. Cable management leaves a little bit to be desired, but it is a dependable, solid case with great airflow. Here's the rest of my components that are going in the machine. An XFX R9 290X, 4 gigabyte model. This will be 16 gigs of RAM. It will be in quad-channel configuration. A 500 gigabyte Crucial NVMe SSD. 2 physical hard drives of 500 and a 1 terabyte. 500 is only going in there because it has a lot of her data already on it. And that's a little better. A Ryzen 5 5500. I'm going to use the stock cooler, although for this box it looks like the stock cooler is pretty shallow, but it's a 65 watt TDP CPU, so I don't think there's going to be any major problems. And the foundation Msi B450 Motherboard. Now I am going to be testing it beforehand because when it came in shipping, the box was damaged. As you can see right here, it got banged up. It looked like it had been thrown on my porch. But the motherboard inside seems to be in pretty good working order. And don't worry, I've already de-staticked myself. You know, for a budget board, that's pretty sexy looking, I gotta admit. Powering it all is going to be this semi-modular Rosewill 700 watt power supply. It is 80 plus bronze. I've had it for a little while. It's powered a couple different systems, but it's a good, dependable power supply. I wouldn't rate it as good as, say, EVGA, but you know. So anyways, let's begin, shall we? We're going to begin with some basic motherboard assembly. Stickers. IO shield, very basic, but it will do the job. Hey, I get some free cables. Normally my motherboards don't come with those. Motherboard driver discs I'm not going to use. NVMe screw, which I already have. And useless paperwork. Alright. So I'm going to go toss that aside. So when I begin this first, flip that up, get the CPU out. Actually install the RAM first. And I'm hoping, because I bought these RAM sticks new, that they're not going to have much of a problem. I'm hoping quad channel works well on this board. That is way better. So yeah, sticky side out. They're all 3200 each. 4 gigabyte sticks. And as I said, she has had performance issues on the old system. I'm hoping that bumping her up like this will assist with that, because she had only 8 gigs before. That looks like a sexy set all filled out, doesn't it? That tape sucks to cut through. Hopefully it all works just fine. Just the basic Wraith cooler, RAM and stickers. Now on a seat. Sorry, that required a little bit of adjustment there. Alrighty, so first you make sure that little arrow, there's a small little gold corner on every CPU. Make sure it matches up perfectly with the one on the board. You clamp this down, make sure it doesn't move. Alright. Come on out of there. There we go. Now this is kind of a basic CPU cooler, but I'm not sweating that too much, even though it's very, very thin. You don't need much for this low TDP of a CPU. Put that over there. What I think I am going to do, though, is I prefer MX Arctic Silver 5. Here's my Arctic Silver. Wipe this off. Because I don't like the factory stuff too much. I am just not that huge of a fan of it. This stuff does not last very long. Here's one cool thing about me going with an MSI board for my girlfriend, though, as an option instead of what I originally was going to do, which was my tried and true ASRock formula. And that is the simple fact that, oh, is that all the way down? Yeah, it's all the way down. It's the simple fact that she is a dragon sign on the Chinese calendar, and MSI's logo is a dragon. All you should need, and whenever you're doing your thermal paste, by the way, you should only need one big dot. That is all you should ever need. So, with this particular cooler, you have to pull the standoffs off the motherboard, which I will store in my handy dandy screw case, which anybody who's in IT, you want one of these. You want to have a nice screw case, or a case to put all your screws in, so that you will always have spares. Because not all motherboard manufacturers will send you motherboards with screws, and not all cases will come with things like standoffs. A lot of people consider those extra. This cooler's set up more like a mix of old school Intel on this. So that's kind of interesting that they went this route. I haven't installed one of these style coolers in a long time, and usually they have like a little hook latch deal where you can just hook it onto your board. Alright, once you get those two corner ones in, then it should be smooth sailing. Nice thing about these having retaining springs in them like they do, one, you don't ever have to worry about the screws going anywhere. You know, it's the same thing with an Intel one. And two, you don't have to think about how tight you're tightening them, because they will only go so tight. Will you please get in there? There we go. Alright, now to hook up the NVMe. And then we're going to test fire the board just to see if it posts. I've hooked the switch from the case to the motherboard. Now I'm going to plug in the power, the 24 pin here, making sure I'm plugging it in right. Wow, this one goes quite a bit easier than the other one did, let me tell you. CPU plug in, because nothing sucks worse than going through all the trouble of hooking up your system. Alright, now let's see if I can fire this bad boy up. Okay. Maybe I got the power button on backwards. Always remember, plug in your power supplies, people. And we have post, or we have power. That's good. That's a good thing. At least I know it's getting power. Alright. Now, something I've found is easier to do is to pre-route your cables, and to do so while shutting your screw box so you don't get your screws kind of thrown everywhere. Now, even with this AC running in here, it's kind of hot, people. Okay, so you unhook all those. Let's bring this case in and start monkeying with it, shall we? let's plug this in and do a test fire. It's good. Okay. And now to get it in and try it out. Okay, moment of truth. As you can see here, I got it running. Apparently it was having a memory issue. That's what happens when you don't have a speaker on this thing. So I just got to set the memory up, and then I'm going to do a couple of tests on the actual system, use a little bit of gameplay footage, and we'll go from there. And here we are testing out a friendly little game of Slime Rancher. Just gonna play it for a little bit, not do anything major. I don't want to mess up her game, but you know, here we go. Everything's looking pretty good. That should conclude that. Alright, it's the very next day, and so far everything's running really well with my girlfriend's computer. It is topping out, I think, at 80 degrees Celsius on high load, which may seem hot, but in the terms of computers, that's kind of average, especially with that R9 290X in it. That thing is supposed to be an oven, you know, like a heating element in an oven, I should say. But it's running fine. She's had no complaints. In fact, it boots up much faster than the old system did. There was one slight complication, though. This old terabyte drive here, it gave up the ghost. Sad to say. I will do a full test on it later to see if it's salvageable or not, but I was hoping to upgrade her storage a little bit. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from it. I had fun building the computer, and when it was all said and done and it all came together, it's a magical feeling. As I said, her machine is running pretty fantastic, I gotta say. Pretty fantastic indeed. Well, thank you for watching. Y'all have a wonderful day, and see you in the next one. Take care.